Welcome to Mallia's Garden. I'm Mallia. In this video, I want to share with you how I save seed for the Kajari melon. And here's a Kajari melon here. It's an Indian musk melon. I believe it originated from Punjab, and the story of how this melon came about in the US is that Joseph Simcox, he was a botanist. He spent a decade looking for, almost a decade, about 8 years looking for this beautiful musk melon. And it's so pretty, and it smells like honeydew and cantaloupe. It has these green stripes, green and orange stripe. And it's similar, it looks similar to the tiger melon, but the tiger melons are much smaller. And the great thing about this heirloom variety is that you can save the seed, and the seed will actually be almost the same or the same as the parent plant when you do save the seed. Now, I have to say that I have enjoyed growing these Kajari melons. They're personal size, they're as big as a little grapefruit, but they do split on you very easily, and when they're ripe they will just fall off the vine. So if you trellis it, it'll fall off, and sometimes when it hits the ground it'll split open. But if you have it close to the ground, I mean, this little melon rolled off, like, because I have a in-ground mound, and so it rolled off, and luckily I found it in time. We had we have 2 plants right now, and out of those 2 plants we've had 6 melons. Half of them I had to give to the chickens because they either split or they were underripe or overripe. But this one right here and the other 2 that I have that I saved seed for have been pretty perfect. Now, also in the description below, I'm gonna also link to the blog where Baker Creek talks more about how Joseph Simcox came about obtaining this beautiful melon seed. He went Indiana Jones almost just to get this, so it's very exciting that I have this in my hands today. Although I'm saving the seed for the Kajari melon today, and this method is a fermenting method, you can also do this method for tomatoes and other musk melons like cantaloupe, honeydews, cucumbers. So any seed that has a gelatinous membrane covering it, you can use this method for, especially if you have a lot of seeds, like in this case. Then you want to do this because it's not quicker, because you have to wait 3 to 4 days, but it's easier, at least for me. Now, you can also take the melon, like the seed, and take a paper towel and rub the membrane off and then save like that. But I mean, with this many seeds, you know, it's gonna take a while. Now, some people will just take a seed that has a gel membrane and, you know, dry it, but I think that the storage may not be as long because you have, you know, the gel membrane on there. The storage may not be as great. So this is a pretty, you know, good method, and it's supposed to kill like any disease that it may have to. And so I do recommend this method. Now, for if you're doing like peppers or things like that doesn't have this membrane, then you would just, you know, scoop it out and put it on a coffee filter or a wax paper or a paper towel or whatever you have, and dry at room temperature. Now, when you are saving seeds, you want to save seeds from the biggest and the best and the sweetest fruit, because when you go to plant those seeds, it's going to mimic its parent. So I'm going to cut it up. Let's cut it in half. This one I put in the refrigerator so it could be cold when we eat it. So this is how it looks like inside. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a spoon, and you'll just scoop out the membrane inside here, the seed. Okay. Comes out in one scoop. This is how it looks when you take it out. Let me go ahead and take a little bite of it. It's good. It has like this very light honeydew taste. It's soft like a honeydew, but the smell is like a cantaloupe mix with a honeydew. So it's very good. My son's gonna be really excited to have this for his snack today. Let's go ahead and put the seeds in a jar. And it comes like this. It's in a membrane and it's attached like this. So what you're gonna do is you're gonna have to get in there and get the seeds out. The Kajari melon is so beautiful. It's like it's hard not to grow it, even though it cracks and on you and it busts, especially when it rains. Oh boy, when it rains, and when it's already it's about to ripen, but you get a big rain. Just be sure that it's going to yes, it's surely going to just burst. But you know what? It's fine. It's just the way it is. And hopefully, if you save seeds from the melon plant that doesn't really burst as easily, then over time you'll have a stronger plant. So this is the pulp. And we're going to discard this and put it in the compost. And then this is what you're left with right here. And you want the juice and the membrane still on there. And so now that you have your seeds with the juice in it, you want to go ahead and put it in your jar here. A nice clean jar. And just scoop it in. Juice and all. Alright. Now what you can do is you can just ferment it like this, but I like to add water to it because anything that floats on top, I know that it's not good. So this is I think it's a half pint jar, and I'm just gonna fill it up to the top like this. And originally what it would do is most of it will actually float to the top because it has you know, the membrane on it. They'll be floating on top, but eventually all of the good viable seeds will go to the bottom, and whatever is not good will go to the top, and you will drain it off. You can use any size jar or can. You just need to put a paper towel over the top of the jar or a cup and secure it with a rubber band or the canning ring if you're using a mason jar. I like the mason jar because of the convenience of the fitting ring. Right, so this has been fermenting for 4 days now, and I'll show you the process of it, but I'm gonna go ahead and dump this out. So it's gonna smell pretty bad. I mean, really bad because it's fermenting. And on the top of it, you'll see how there's some scum and there's melons that are floating on top of that. So, ooh, that's bad. Wow, I regret that. Why do I do that? Anyway, all right. So what you want to do is you want to go ahead and pour it out. You would be doing this in the sink, but I'm just showing you here. You pour all the seeds that are floating on top out. All right, we're getting close to the bottom now. And so you'll have this left. In the sink, what you would do is you would normally take this and just rinse it out with water. So I don't have a sink. My sink is over there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and pour this into a strainer. This is just a little tea strainer, but you can just pour it in a strainer or anything that you have. So let's just take it out here. And you'll just rinse it. And this you would be doing under the sink. You'll just rinse the seed. All that funk out. Okay, so here I have a plate that I've labeled Kajari Melon. I just basically took a paper towel. If you have coffee filter or like a paper plate, that would be better, but I don't have that, so use what you have. The reason why I wouldn't really recommend paper towel, but this is what I have, is because it'll stick onto this sometimes. But to stop it from doing that, like every day, I will come by and just kind of touch it and loosen it up. So I usually put like a little sticker here and just say Kajari Melon. You just take your seeds here. These are the seeds that are fermented. Just pop it in like that. Take your hand and just spread it out like this. And try to make it an even layer. Okay, so here we have it. And what you do with this is you're going to take this and you're going to put it on a shelf, like away from the direct sunlight, and wait for maybe like 3 to 5 days. I usually wait for a week or two before before it gets to this harder stage here, this dry stage, and then this is when I would go ahead and store it. All right, so now these are dry Kajari melons that I did 2 weeks ago. And what we're gonna do is we're going to go ahead and put it in a Ziploc bag. So what I do is I use like a Ziploc bag, and you can also use like old, like if you have jars, like even mason jars like this, or if you have old pill bottles, you can also use those. And I like to put a little silica gel pack in there to keep it fresh for next year. So this is it, and I just do that. Out of the way because it stinks. I'm just gonna take it completely out of here. Whew.